Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Come with me as I make an easy weekday meal of turkey spaghetti and some fried fish. Overall cook time took me right at about an hour, so let's get right into it. For this dish, I'm using my fish fry, a little bit of cornmeal. I've got me some filet whiting, my ground turkey meat, some onions, mushrooms, tomatoes, my spaghetti sauce, and some spaghetti noodles. So here I'm just going in with a little bit of baking soda and some vinegar and some water, and I'm gonna use this mix to clean my tomatoes and mushrooms. I know some people just rinse them, but I like doing this method to just make sure any of the pesticides or any crazy stuff definitely fizzes to the top and I'm able to rinse it all off. So that's what I'm doing here in this clip. And as you can see, it was some funny looking stuff in that tomato bin. So that's why I'm like, let me thoroughly clean these vegetables. I did use about a half of a white onion. So I'm just going in, I'm peeling that. I'm gonna just go ahead and dice the white onion, and then I'll proceed to start slicing up my tomatoes and mushrooms. So here I'm just about finished slicing everything up, and I don't want, the tomatoes and the mushrooms to be too small. I still want to enjoy them. I know this looks like it's a lot of vegetables, but that little pack of ground turkey, it really just all simmers down to not much. So a lot of these vegetables are going to just be placed as a filler to give the food more flavor and taste. Because if it was just plain ground turkey, I feel like it would just not fill me up. So I just added a little bit of oil to my pan. I use canola oil, and I'm gonna let those onions, the mushrooms, and the tomatoes just simmer down for a little bit, probably about 7 minutes, and so they're like a nice brown texture on a medium heat. After I let the vegetables simmer for about 7 minutes, I'm gonna go ahead and add the ground turkey to the middle of the pan just so it can absorb the most of the heat from the induction stove. And I'll put the vegetables on the edge so they don't, overcook and burn. So while that's browning and everything, I'm gonna go ahead and start flouring my fish. For this, I'm using whiting fillets that I got from the fish market. 10 pieces was right at a pound, and they were $4.99 a pound, so it wasn't a bad deal. I'm gonna go ahead and use Louisiana Fish Fry, a combination of cornmeal, and just a little bit of baking powder. And then the only seasoning that I'm gonna add is just Obe because the fish fry is already seasoned, and I don't want to overdo it. So the Obe is just gonna give it a nice like seafood flavorful taste. So here I'm just battering each piece of fish. I'm just going in and battering it about twice on each side. So I'll batter it on one side, flip it, batter it on the other side, and then repeat. And then I'm just putting it on that plate on the side. And then at the same time, I've still got my turkey meat with the vegetables on a low flame. And I also added a pot to the back of the stove of boiling water to go ahead and get ready to put my noodles in there in a bit. So that's what I'm working on. And quick question to everyone watching. When you're making spaghetti, do you put your noodles and water on the pot at the same time, or do you let the water boil then add the noodles? Does it matter? Let me know y'all's thoughts in the comments. So me personally, I like to season my meat once it's halfway cooked. So for this turkey meat spaghetti, I just went ahead and added a little bit of paprika, some Himalayan salt, some black pepper, some white pepper, Italian seasonings, and then I did add in some garlic and a couple of spoonfuls of sugar. Don't judge me, but I like my spaghetti a little sweet, a little salty, a little savory. So, yeah. At that point, I'm gonna just let it simmer down, and it should be done cooking in the next like 3 minutes. So once the water came to a boil, I went in and I added like half of the pack of the noodles. So I think that should be enough for my boyfriend and I for us to have dinner tonight, and then for us to have leftovers tomorrow as lunch. So at this point, my turkey meat was already done. So I'm gonna just go ahead and add in my Prego spaghetti sauce and mix that in. And then I'm just gonna put a little bit of butter on the top of the pan and then set it aside in the oven on 100 just to keep it warm while I start frying my fish. So this is how my fried fish is looking. I normally let mine fry for about 6 minutes on each side, and then typically the fish that was in the middle of the pan seems to cook faster than the ones on the outside of the pan. So as I'm removing those, I'm adding in a few more pieces of fish to the pan. And yeah, this was on, I used canola oil on like medium heat. So yeah, this is how it's coming out. So this is how my fried fish came out, my 10 pieces. How'd I do? How's it look? And yeah, this is the finished product. I took my noodles out. And so now I'm just gonna get ready to plate my dish. This is how the pasta sauce looks. Remember, I put it in the oven while I was working on everything else on a low heat. So the butter melted and it's still warm. And I like putting my food away in the oven while I'm working on another dish. It keeps everything nice and warm. I know some people, they'll put a little olive oil over their noodles to keep it like moist and give it a nice texture. I typically don't do that because I'm about to put, a nice sauce on top of it. So I'm like, it doesn't need to be like too oily, too saucy. It's too much going on. So that's why I didn't put any oil on top of my noodles. So me personally, I like to not mix my noodles in the spaghetti sauce together. I like to be able to say like this is the amount of meat to noodle ratio that I like. I don't know, I just feel like whenever it's mixed in, I get skimped on the meat. So I like to plate my noodles first and then go ahead and put the sauce on the top. So let me know you guys' thoughts in the comments. What do y'all do? Do y'all mix it all together in one pot or do you plate it separately? Let me know. So yeah, I'm just portioning out our two plates and I'm gonna just go ahead and put our fish on the plate. For now, I just went ahead and put two pieces, but we actually ended up going back and getting a third piece each. The fish was really good. And then the rest of the spaghetti meat in the pan we had for leftovers, so it was enough for us both to take some for work for the next day. So yeah, I'm just plating it here. I tried to fit that third piece and I was like, nah, we'll just come back for it. So this is the finished product. I went ahead and put a little bit of grated Parmesan on the top, some chives, and some parsley. I've got my hot sauce ready for my fish, and it looks and smells amazing. If you like the content, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Thanks.